The Dems murder-suicide mission. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Now, imagine telling an Obama voter back in 2008 that by 2026, this would be the Democrats' top priorities. Forcing female athletes to compete against biological men, and then fighting any effort to deport illegals. Now, in a few moments, we're going to get to what went down at the court in the trans athletes case. But what's important to understand tonight is that the Democrats aren't just going to war on a few discrete issues, but with the idea of America itself.
The Congressional Progressive Caucus has adopted an official position to hold ICE accountable. Our caucus members will oppose all funding for immigration enforcement in any appropriation bills until meaningful reforms are enacted to end militarized policing practices.
Total anarchist. Now, first, maybe she should retake her high school American government class if she took it, because we don't get to opt out of federal law until we like the specific terms of that law. That's called anarchy. And as for her claim that it's militarized enforcement, the only reason that ICE needs to bring in reinforcements is because of scenes that Democrats encourage, such as this from just a few hours ago at the Federal Building in Minneapolis. Now, these are the tactics that ICE is up against. This is a little bit, right? They're tracking their vehicles, taking photos of their license plates, screaming, get in the way, getting an inch away from their faces. And they're encouraged by Democrats who lie about the basics. And obviously, or at least it seems to, they prefer having a country of illegal alien fraudsters and gangbangers to having a country of hardworking Americans and law and order. And by the way, if you think that, oh, it's just a squad that's out there promoting lawlessness, you're wrong. This insurgent virus has spread to party moderates as well. They're all in lockstep. They all came to the microphone today. So this is the political equivalent of a murder-suicide mission. Because in a relatively short period of time, they've gone from a party that was fairly liberal to a party that is hardcore socialist. Where have these people gone?
All Americans are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. We will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes.
Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws. They must be held accountable, especially those who may be dangerous. Even as we focus on deporting criminals, the fact is millions of immigrants still live here illegally.
Well, borders used to matter to them. Citizenship used to mean something. No one in the Democrat Party, not one time back then, encouraged a public uprising against immigration enforcement. 6,000 arrests were made during the Biden years alone in Minnesota of illegal aliens. No protests, no water bottles being thrown. But now, even so-called moderates distort the facts to legitimize this insurgency.
What we are seeing day in and day out when people are going in, wearing masks, terrifying communities, is that they're breaking down that trust.
The way in which ICE is operating today is inhumane and illegal. That's not a system that anybody in this country wants to fund.
Actually, it's what 77 million voters supported, demanded, when they elected Donald Trump again in 2024. But what they didn't vote for, Chris, is this.
I do believe that violence is the answer sometimes. And I hope that the violence that they are meeting, that ICE is meeting these communities with, is reciprocated tenfold to them.
They want a violent insurrection. They're egging it on. It's not just promoting lawlessness. They're promoting violence. The insurgents are emboldened. They've gotten their go signals, and they want an insurrection. And apparently, you look at everything online, they want an insurrection with firearms. And as a precursor, they're using fireworks to make their point. Now, we know what they're after. Again, a deadly response by ICE to stoke a bigger insurgent movement. But it is already way out of hand here. As I saw firsthand, they want their anarchist, anti-American spaces to be no-go zones for any non-believers. Something, by the way, that independent journalist Nick Sorter regularly encounters. What you just saw there, that's the Democrats' midterm strategy. As I said earlier, it's murder-suicide. Everything these people have touched, they've destroyed. Our schools, our universities, the entertainment industry, even some sports, because you can't get away from politics ever. Of course, they've destroyed some of our great American cities, San Francisco, Seattle, Portland, parts of New York, of course, in Chicago. They've made it all toxic, hyper-political, radical. Nothing works right because they wrecked it. So yeah, long before ICE came on the scene, their places were suffering from lousy political leadership, lousy ideas, bad policies. But they spend all their time now passing the buck.
Schools have gone onto lockdown. Entire districts have had to cancel school for tens of thousands of students to ensure safety and offer online education because of the students and the parents' fear of coming into the school.
It's businesses closing. It's people being afraid to go out and get groceries and therefore are going hungry.
Oh my God. Hey, Dancing Queen. Businesses are hurting because you never learned from the George Floyd riots and are doing the same thing again. Indulging the radicals, coddling them. I'm surprised you're not sending them pizzas. Maybe you are. So if you worked with ICE, everything would be better. But that's not what they want. Democrats are annihilating themselves. They're killing themselves politically, and they want to take America down with them. But I'm telling you tonight, they will not succeed. Reality is not social media. Trump is doing the hard stuff. He's securing our hemisphere. He's rebalancing our trade. He's reindustrializing our economy. And of course, he's deporting criminals and gangbangers.
We're not making any payments to sanctuary cities or states having sanctuary cities because they do everything possible to protect criminals at the expense of American citizens, and it breeds fraud and crime and all of the other problems. We intend to imprison any fraudster, politician, or public official involved in these sick plots to loot and pillage our country.
Well, the best is yet to come, because we want America not just to survive, but to thrive. The political nihilists will lose. They always do. And that's the angle.
Are these ladies looking for a new type of exercise? Psychiatrists are telling Primetime that these women have deep-rooted anger issues, and immigration agents are just an excuse for a punching bag.
You know, one thing that hating men has trained me for is literally trained me for chasing ICE cars off of my street, 5 of them right now, following them down the neighborhood, honking, blowing whistles, telling them to off. All that rage that I have felt towards men is coming out. I have been trained for this moment.
The rage that I have felt towards men is coming out, quote unquote. And there we have it, a confession or a window into their thinking. Benny Johnson hit on it last night. Watch.
If you are a woman, you're still created by God with a motherly instinct. It's just when you don't have children, that instinct moves somewhere else. And for leftists, that primary instinct has moved to the criminal alien. Why? Because your instinct as a parent is to raise up your own children with the same value system that you have so that your worldview can progress, so that your worldview can stay alive and not go extinct. The Democrat Party is going extinct by choice. They're not having children, and they're trying to project their worldview and power onto criminal aliens.
They sent men's jobs to China, called us toxic, Me Too'd half the country. called us racist and sexist for not voting for Kamala. And now men protecting the streets have bounties on their heads by cartels and moms. The ICE agent who defended himself against Renee Good has been forced to go underground.
I know for a fact, now he has to be in hiding. I seen a post this morning on the way to the studio here with his picture, wanted for murder, for the safety of him and his family. I mean, there are wanted posters with his picture, his license plate number, and the death threats against him and his family.
These ICE agents have been hired to do the job Americans voted for. Remember, Biden won, he got to hire IRS agents. Trump won, he gets to hire ICE agents. You didn't see MAGA driving cars into IRS agents over an audit. But Joe Scarborough says ICE is causing problems because the agents aren't well trained.
We see these clowns on TV with improper training, and we understand they're doing everything wrong.
You pour 10 million illegals into the country and you're complaining we don't have the right type of cops? And the man who shot Renee Good was well trained. He volunteered to serve the country, was deployed to Iraq, came back, went to college, joined Border Patrol in 2007, where he conducted anti-cartel operations. And then he joined ICE in 2015, where he served in an FBI joint task force. Now, if you're mad that he didn't have a body cam, we would love to put body cams on ICE. When we put body cams on cops, it was a game changer. We finally saw in graphic detail the danger and derangement in the streets. Now, if you're a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen in Minneapolis, who do you think's more of a threat? Illegal alien murderers or the guys trying to catch them? The normies are fed up. They can't even get to work because Karen's causing traffic.
Once again, I'm doing Spark delivery and they're blocking the road again. Look at this. I'm trying to make a living. I'm trying to get my car note paid off. And these people are blocking the road. Why? Now I gotta make a detour.
It's gotten to the point where random trucks that look like ICE trucks are being tailgated across town. These women are putting people's lives in danger, then blaming law enforcement. It's straight up witchcraft.
Welcome to Hannity, and tonight major historic events are unfolding all around the world and right here at home. But Democrats, legacy media mob, they are busy fantasizing about a civil war while inciting a violent mob against ICE agents who are simply doing their job and protecting American citizens and upholding federal law. And only hours ago, another vehicle ramming attack against these agents, this time in San Antonio, Texas. Take a look at this. We'll show you the whole video later.
Watch out! Holy watch out in front of you! Watch out in front! Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Cut it off! Cut it off! Now! Cut it off! Turn off the car! Cut the car! Cut off! Come out of the car! Come out of the car!
Now, we have a lot more shocking new videos straight ahead. Also, U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro is facing off against the Fed and Jerome Powell. You've probably not gotten the true story or the whole story. She will join us along with House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, who is now planning to hold Bill and possibly Hillary Clinton in contempt of Congress. They have defied a subpoena from the House regarding the Epstein investigation. Also, during a landmark Supreme Court case on trans athletes, one far-left justice appeared to have a difficult time understanding the biological differences between men and women. That debate continues. But tonight, we begin with absolute horror, evil, but also hope out of Iran tonight. The U.S. is now ramping up the pressure on the mullahs and the Ayatollah after reports of anywhere between 12 and 20,000 murdered protesters, many more injured. Morgues and hospitals are overflowing tonight. Now, this is a viewer warning. What we are about to show you is extremely graphic. It is gruesome new video out of Iran showing, body bags stacked in every direction with loved ones desperately looking through the remains to find their friends and their family members. The Islamic extremists at the helm of Iran's, sadistic government are reportedly opening fire on peaceful protesters with high-powered rifles, hunting them down in close range with shotguns. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard involved in the shootings. There are bodies, according to reports, everywhere. Now, I'm going to be very blunt with this audience. I have seen video that is so gruesome, we cannot in good conscience even show it to you. It simply will shock you to your core. These are images I promise you will never, ever be able to forget. And tomorrow, Iran reportedly now set to hang a young 26-year-old protester. This is a brutal crackdown from a truly evil group of radicals. And yet, the people of Iran, well, they're not stopping. They are courageously unyielding. The protests continue. Government installations are set ablaze. And now President Trump, he has a clear message, quote, help is on the way.
To all Iranian patriots, keep protesting, take over your institutions if possible, and save the name of the killers and the abusers that are abusing you. You're being very badly abused. And I've canceled all meetings with the Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stops. And all I say to them is help is on its way. You saw that I put tariffs on anybody doing business with Iran. Just went into effect today. And I say, make Iran great again. It was a great country until these monsters came in and took it over.
And today, a reporter asked the president what his endgame in Iran looks like and what help could soon be on the way. Here is how President Trump responded. Take a look.
Americans woke up this morning and they saw that you said help is on the way.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, there's a lot of help on the way and in different forms, including economic help from our standpoint, and not going to help Iran very much. And we put Iran out of business with their nuclear capacity.
And this strong action you're talking about, what's the end game?
The end game is to win. I like winning.
How do you define that in Iran?
Well, let's define it in Venezuela. Let's define it with al-Baghdadi. He was wiped out. Let's define it with Soleimani. And let's define it in Iran, where he wiped out their Iran nuclear threat in a period of about 15 minutes once the B-2s got there. And that was a complete obliteration.
It could also add wiping out the ISIS caliphate. So what does come next? Well, we don't exactly know, and neither does Iran. Now, Trump has cut off communication with the mullahs, has reportedly been briefed on all of his options, including military strikes. The so-called leaders in Iran, they should be terrified. They are in hiding. They should be getting on that plane to Moscow as soon as possible. Now, one message I have for them. If they're foolish enough to doubt President Trump's word or resolve, they may want to take a look at their former nuclear weapons facilities, or maybe just give Nicolas Maduro a call. Our military bases surround Iran. U.S. technology has already proven itself inside of that country after that successful strike wiped out Iran's entire nuclear program. Iran knew it was going to happen, but never saw it coming anyway. In keeping with the Trump doctrine, like the strike on their nuclear weapons facilities and the capture of Maduro in Venezuela, there won't be U.S. boots on the ground, and this will not be a forever war. The Trump doctrine is consistent, and it is lethal. But the U.S. will strike at the heart of its enemies, and if and when it benefits the American people, and in this case, the Iranian people or the people of Venezuela. And tonight, a decisive blow against the world's #1 state sponsor of terrorism is absolutely in America's best interest. The people that have been chanting death to Israel, death to America, while waging terror around the world and over the years killing Americans, slaughtering thousands and thousands of innocent people. That is not going to end well, my prediction for the Iranian leadership. If I had to make a prediction, it's only a matter of time before Iran's radical Islamic fascist regime faces the justice they deserve.
Gotta say, Kathy Bates looks great. But be good, that's some message. I mean, do you mean do what Renee Good did? Well, would you do what she did, Mark? Hang around all day and stalk law enforcement? And then when they tried to stop you from driving away, would you just floor it? Of course you wouldn't. You don't want to die. You got a great life. But I get it. The pin is the perfect virtue signal. Do as I say, not as I do. And that's the real issue here. This disconnect between private beliefs and public proclamations. It's about the things that elite libs would never risk, that they happily demand from others. They love their causes so much, they'll sacrifice everything you have. It's why they dangerously idealize the actions of Renee Good, who was so emboldened by training and propaganda that she assumed she was impervious to the law, and sadly learned that what works on social media doesn't work in real life on the street. This disconnect cuts across all of their fake crusades. Take trans. White liberal chicks know that kids can't make that call about their bodies, but they don't say that in public. They also wouldn't let a stranger into their homes, but they're fine with open borders. If a cop pulls them over for a busted taillight, they don't just speed off, but then they openly encourage gullible activists to do otherwise. So here's the test that undoes all liberal performative lies. What kind of advice would you give a relative planning to do something stupid, like harass and impede law enforcement? Would you say, go for it? Or would you say, that's a terrible idea? You would say the latter because you care about them and you love them. So be good captures the hypocrisy of the elite virtue signal. They egg you on to do something that they'd never do because they really don't care about you. All these videos of women holding up phones, screaming at ICE, where are their loved ones or their friends telling them to knock it off? Renee Good didn't have anyone offering sound advice, just activist groups and celebs egging her on. You know, it's funny, you don't see a lot of black protesters at these things. You also don't see them at Hamas rallies or Tran rallies either. It's almost like the promiscuity of white female protesters regarding their causes tells you it's not about the cause at all. It's about the content. Filming and posting it as a form of emotional enrichment. So here's the question to end all phony liberal compassion. Would your politics require you to suspend the advice that you'd give to your own family? If the answer is yes, then you're an uncaring douchebag. Which, as far as we know, Ruffalo might be. He's not sheltering migrants in his Los Angeles mansion, his 50-acre farm, or one of his Manhattan apartments. Then again, the people wearing the pins are actors, and they literally recite made-up crap for a paycheck. It's the only way they can claim the high ground about climate change, yet live in beachfront mansions. And it's why the Democrat Party in Hollywood are so tight. They both do the same thing for a living. They lie. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He's the worst thing to come out of Alaska since Jewel's teeth. Actor, writer, comedian Jamie Lissow. Whoever thinks life is short has never listened to his podcast. Host of Your Welcome podcast, Michael Mallett. She went from Toad the Wet Sprocket to ripping Jasmine Crockett. Host of Kennedy Saves the World podcast, Kennedy. And finally, he has a walk-in belly button. Former NWA World Champion and host of the Planet Tyrant podcast, Tyrus. Jamie, I can see you making decisions personally for yourself and telling people to do it differently publicly because it's not working out for you.
That's very true.
Well, that's just like... Wow, you tired of me?
You need to come to the understanding, Greg, that they love this man. You can't tease him anymore. He's one of their own.
You really hit some of my past, though, when you talked about the hypocrisy. Because I remember my ex-wife was very against illegal immigration, but she did let a stranger into our house. Oh, my God. Could I just take a minute and just on the pins?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Better than out the pins.
Oh my God, so much less painful. These pins, by the way, if you saw a little bit of the Golden Globes, it looked like a very expensive set. Like they spent a lot of money on, outfits and set. But I think before they made the pins, they were running out of money. Those are very small pins. I looked up how much they cost, and the pin just smaller than that one is no pin. And then who did they hire to write these pins? Like a caveman? Like ice out. Be good. Buy an extra word, you sons of bitches. We don't know what you're talking about. And the message is too vague. Like ice out. I thought they wanted us to give somebody the cold shoulder. Do you ever get like this? I don't like the Ruffalo thing. I do not like when someone has such insane political views that it changes the way I watch them.
Yes, I hate that.
In something. And like this thing with Ruffalo, I do with it. It reminds me of remember when Pee Wee Herman did that thing in the movie theater? I remember that. Like after that, when I would watch Pee Wee's Playhouse, it was so much better.
Yes.
And I can't even watch Wanda Sykes and stuff because she's not in anything.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Nice. It is true. When I found out that Robert Blake killed his wife, I was like, now I really like Beretta.
Allegedly.
What?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Michael, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much.
Excellent. So what do you, we haven't talked about any of this. What do you make, I'm struck by the conversations that you have with people privately about things like in the green room, and then publicly they say something completely different. Like, far be it from me to tell you the right thing to do.
Sure.
Like
this phony.
Yeah,
absolutely. No, I think it's amazing that we all remember how people were taking the streets complaining that the cops were killing unarmed black men, but now they're killing unarmed white women, and they still can't win with these people.
Yes, yes.
We finally conquered racism with police brutality. I also think, I'm going to quote Scott Adams, who passed today.
Yes.
One of his most famous quotes is, "We are seeing two movies on one screen."
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of insane how everyone is seeing the same exact footage and are perceiving two entirely different incidents depending on their perception of ICE. Either you see her trying to hit him and he's getting out of the way and scared for his life, or she's an innocent victim trying to flee and he murdered her in cold blood. And you can't convince, it's like that dress that was blue and gold or white, whatever.
Yeah.
You can't convince the other people that you're seeing something else in good faith. We're kind of degenerating in our ability to have conversation as a country, and I don't know where it goes from here.
I agree with you, and we're going to talk about Scott Adams in the B Block, because the two movies on one screen is an amazing kind of framework of how everything happens in politics these days. Kennedy, what say you about this public versus personal proclamation? Like, you would tell your kids, I think that, Kennedy, you would tell your kids the same advice that you would say on the 5.
Absolutely, because people aren't being honest with themselves, and they're certainly not being honest with their fans. And, Mark Ruffalo used to be an exciting actor, and, he was in some really big Marvel movies and stuff like that. But you're absolutely right. You can no longer divorce his political views from some of his past performances. And his political views are so off-putting. I mean, they're really only attractive to such a narrow group of people, whereas critical thinking and learning how to assess a situation should be attractive to everybody. And that is something that has completely gone out of fashion. My girls were raised in Los Angeles for the first few years of their lives, and we have been in New York for 11 years. And when you raise kids in New York, you have to teach them how to read a room, looking at other people. When is a situation going to devolve into something chaotic and violent? And that's when you tell them you have to extricate yourself from that situation. The most valuable defense tool you have is getting out of there. But Mark Ruffalo would never say anything like that. And as you pointed out on the 5 today, we didn't see Natasha Lyonne. We didn't see Wanda Sykes. We haven't seen Mark Ruffalo in Portland or Minneapolis at ICE facilities or, on walkie-talkies, in chat groups telling people where to go, what weapons ICE has, what vehicles they're driving, what they're wearing today, because that is the most dangerous place to be right now.
Yeah.
And they value their lives and they value their paycheck more than they value the virtues that they signal to other people, which Unfortunately, for the unwell people who love them, very small pool, it can be deadly.
Yeah, and you make a point about the Ruffalo tires and other, let's say, veteran protesters. Shouldn't they do the opposite? They have the responsibility of being around to tell these young protesters that you are not helping a cause by making people hate you.
Well, the difference is of what we're seeing is that there's two kinds of people that we've kind of degressed down to two. We have the watchers and the doers. People who do things, they go outside, they live life, they have experiences. They go out for a job interview, they talk to people, they go back and forth. Then there's the watchers, who this entire basis of everything is what they see on social media, and they make their little attacks.
Yeah.
It's a safe place, and you say things, and especially if you have a wonderful platform, especially if you can go to the Golden Globes dressed like you're auditioning for the Love Boat, and nobody cares.
Yeah.
And here's the best part, because he's a watcher, he's never going to be a doer because it's so safe and so and virtuous and everyone's talking about. He comes, the interviewer didn't even want to interview him.
Yeah.
He bum rushed them.
He ran over.
They're like, oh, hey, it's Beta Hulk. Because let's be honest, this monster ruined the Hulk.
Yeah.
When he turns into the Hulk questions things and has a man bun. You know, it's like, it's not the same thing anymore. But he went in there and he had to get his point across. And one of the things he was trying to remember, that's why he wouldn't let go of the bat. It was so small we couldn't even be good, or you have a stain on your thing. But his whole thing was he had to get his virtue out. He's done his part.
Yes.
The sad part is somebody who's sitting at home watching him is like, I'm going to go out and do it now.
Yeah.
And that's what they push. Like, it's a coward's thing to sit there and tell everyone. They're so virtuous. What was it last year? It was singing gay, gay, gay.
Yeah.
They're always doing some train wreck, dumb but you never, ever see their hands are never dirty. There's never dirt on their fingernails, and they're never willing to be in the front. Did he bring the woman's wife with him to the show?
Yeah.
Did he, you know what I'm saying? If it was so-called murder, is he out and is he doing something? No, these don't do anything but point and click and talk. And if you come at him and call him names, you're misogynistic. So.
Yeah. All right.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.